I'm John Ackerly, co-founder CEO of Virtru Corporation, and very excited to be here today. I was actually born and raised in Washington, D.C. We started Virtru here because, not because we were from D.C., although that was a great bonus, but because if you are a company, a person who has a real mission-focused and ambition to get something done that can impact policy in the world, there's not a better place anywhere than the DMV. There's so many aspects that are awesome. I mean, it's a super diverse city, and not just in terms of racial diversity, et cetera, but very global, right? And fascinating people come in and out of the city. That it is just a hothouse for ideas. I think there are other cities where you're kind of measured by how much money do you make as sort of a barometer of success. Here, it's what kind of impact are you having? I joined the George W. Bush campaign in Austin, Texas, and I was hired to lead technology policy. Data privacy being one of the key issues that we were addressing, and it's really at the heart of Virtru as well, about how you give individuals, companies, true agency and control over their data. We saw, really saw firsthand the problems if there's not trust where you can share information. So I was in the West Wing on September 11, 2001. And on the flip side, if there's not real control over information, you can have new laws get passed, in this case, the Patriot Act, where people, I think rightfully, get very concerned that there's unfettered access to data. So that was a lose-lose proposition, and my brother Will Ackerly and I co-founded the business. He's a former NSA, a security architect, to really turn that lose-lose into a win-win. And so back in 2009, when I was back home for Thanksgiving, he was talking about the trusted data format that he was cooking up at the NSA. And I'm like, wow, okay, this is really interesting from an intelligence community perspective. But if we can take this idea and sort of port that over into applications that matter to people, starting with email, we can build something really interesting that can help to really swing the pendulum back into balance. So let's do a proof of concept to make sure that we could hack into Gmail and actually do this thing. And when that happened, it's like, okay, let's go. Typically, data security and even data privacy, it's about really locking down information or being anonymous. The Virtru proposition and data privacy, as we and our cohort define it, is through control, how do you enable more freedom to share more? And when you share more, you can solve bigger problems. You can get more value from your information. Anytime data is locked down and you can't share it, you can't get value from it. And so that's really a major value proposition. Don't make people do something new. Integrate into the tools that people use every day. And we have tens of millions of users, both free users that are individuals using it for personal use or businesses. And it's just integrated right into your Gmail, integrated right into your Outlook. My brother and I, thought about where can you start a business to solve, again, this major societal challenge around agency and control over data. And we could have started it in New York, could have gone out to California. And in fact, some of our early investors at first required that we move to Palo Alto if they were going to fund us. But we were a hard no, and that delayed our Series A financing. But ultimately they realized, given what Virtru does, and given the growing tech ecosystem in DC, it made sense for us to be headquartered here. So it was the right decision then, and really proud that we've been partnered with the DC government and with the area going back to the very early Virtru days. I'm a super passionate DC person, and I've been an evangelist for the many years, but specifically for Virtru, really sits at the intersection of technology, policy, and really enabling businesses. And right across the street from our office is the World Bank. We are a block and a half from the White House. And so it just makes sense. It also made sense in terms of access to talent. So, some of the best security architects and engineers around are in the area. And why Washington, D.C. itself and not Virginia, and why not Maryland, is it's just cooler. It's just more fun. And one of our values is if you are not having fun at work, you are doing something wrong. And given how hard everyone is really jamming to advance the mission, which is to unlock the power of data by giving people real control over that everywhere they share it, right? That's a big challenge, and you better have fun along the way. And so being right here in downtown and being a part of making sure that there's a virtuous circle in DC and not a vicious cycle that we're seeing in places like San Francisco, which is very important to us. The way that we've built the company over time, we have a lot of DC-based employees that are now with families here and that are just embedded in these the neighborhoods, right? And so moving out to Leesburg or something, that's a major disruption. And for what benefit? I mean, we are literally 2 blocks from the White House, and a bunch of customers all around downtown. It's very easy for us to get, out to the Columbia, Maryland if we need to. I mean, it really, so the name of the Virtru headquarters is the hub. The hub should be in Washington, D.C. The hub should be like right in the nation's capital. Really, the mayor and the Vitality Fund being a critical part of that, it's just a winning combination. So really grateful for that to make the decision easy on the part of the board as well as mine. But it's just obvious. If you think about, it is not just about great museums and great restaurants either, but we have that too. Location really matters. And if your strategy is to use your quote office as something more than that, as a way to attract talent, as a mechanism to, bring in customers and partners, and really being centrally located in Washington, it has always felt like a differentiated and natural fit for us. Not to knock companies that are often Dulles, but it kind of feels like you're out the toll road and you're in amongst government contractors. If you're really trying to make a differentiated play and attract young talent and sort of be close to the action, it just makes sense to be here. And it has already served us very well. And we had a 4-star general from the UK, so the Ministry of Defense, first it was our last meeting at our old office, and we just had that team into our new office, and it was just sort of a night and day experience for them to be right in the heart of downtown. And so it just makes a ton of sense. So the Virtru's tagline is respect the people, respect the data. We have 10 plus million free users, 8,000 customers, but it really goes back down to not just the technology, but the people and the process. And the challenge of how do you give individuals and companies agency over their data has been a massive societal challenge now since the beginning of the internet. We are tackling that challenge. We are building a community of then like-minded companies and partners to then work together to solve it. It's not just about one company trying to build a huge business. It's about solving a mission problem. And we are really excited about being here in the heart of downtown DC and making an impact together. Very happy that we're here and that we committed to an additional 13 years here in Washington.